when I go down to Mackey's and I tell them different things, you know, and half the time they don't believe that kind of stuff.
What do you tell them?
You wouldn't want to know.
Kinda now.
Well, I just tell them things just like how things are so cheap and how they are now, and for instance, like the place that my dad used to farm. Then when my brother got old enough, then he farmed the ground, and then after he got married, then I farmed the ground, and then the place was sold for taxes, and it only brought $38 an acre. Now that's unbelievable, ain't it? 38 bucks an acre.
Where is that ground now, or where was that ground?
Up there where, north of where H&H is, up in that area on the east side of 84th. We walked all the way to Ralston to school, which was about probably 3 miles or so, summer and winter. And like when I was in the kindergarten, we got out a half an hour before the rest of the kids. So me and the neighbor, we walked home all that way. Just think, 5-year-old kids walking 3 miles home from school all by themselves. Why, you know, you couldn't even imagine sending a kid out like that today. I was about 16 years old. Well, let's see, I can't figure out the year back. But, so I'm 90, so when I was 16, that would be about 74 years ago. Okay, a letter, you could mail a letter for 3 cents. A postcard was a penny. Gas was about 18 cents, and tractor fuel was about 12. And you could buy a pair of overalls for $2.25. I used to go up and down 84th Street with a team of horses, which you go down there now and try to imagine that, you know. And when that tunnel used to be there, you know, it's too bad that a guy didn't take pictures of something like that. And then Jim Root, you know, did you ever know Earl Root? Well, anyway, they had a barn there, and my God, that thing was, oh man, I don't know how big that was. But you could take a big truck and just drive, great big old truck with a load of hay and drive all the way around in that barn. That's how big it was. When they built that, from what I understood, you know, the old man was in cattle business all the time and down stockyards. And from what I heard, when he first built that, he was hoping to get a switch off the railroad track so they could switch cattle in and out of there by rail. But evidently that didn't turn out.
You and I drove up through that neighborhood, and you were trying to find the house that you used to live in there.
Oh yeah, it's still there. Stopped there one day, and the lady come to the door, and she was home by herself. And I told her I used to live there, And when I asked her if her husband was home, she said no. And I said, well, I'll come back someday when he's around, and I'd like to talk to him. So then I went back here about, for no, longer than that, probably 6 months ago. And I was giving them all the information about where the cistern was and where the well was and all this kind of stuff. And he said, well, there must have been a cesspool right out here. And I said, no, there was never any cesspool on this place because we had an outside toilet. And then I got to thinking, because he said he had to keep putting dirt in there all the time, it kept caving in. And I told him, I said, well, you know what, that's where the well used to be. And so, over the years, you take I don't know how deep it would be, probably, well, I don't know how deep, maybe, probably 80 feet, maybe. Well, over years, you can't pack it down, and I suppose over the years it just keeps settling, and he kept putting dirt in it all the time. So he was really surprised, when I told him what it was. Well, that place where Zrinski Lake is, I wanted, I was thinking about taking that barn and cutting it in half and moving it. And then they wanted to move it over there onto Baumeister's Prairie. And then that all got changed around. They burnt the whole damn building, everything down. Except the 2 sliding doors. And I forgot all about that until my nephew called me the other day. And he said, hey, Uncle Fred, I want to thank you for the doors. And I said, what doors? And he said, well, them doors that was on that shed over there where you used to live, where the lake is. And he said, you give them to my dad. And then my dad never did use them, and he had them in the shed all them years. And then he gave them to me. Now they're cleared in South Dakota. So that's how stuff gets moved around. Cultivated with a team of horses and a one row cultivator. And some people had a 2-row cultivator and used 4 horses, but we never got that far advanced. and we had when we'd plow with a tractor, that's all we used the tractor for, was plowing. And then we had do the rest of the with horses, like harrowing it back down to smooth it out to plant in. And that's about the way it was, picking corn by hand. And then, like me, shucking the corn with one at a time, and looking across the fence with a damn neighbor with a 2-row corn picker, ears flying out of that thing like that, and made a guy sick. So that's the way it was. And then my dad, he didn't believe in nothing like that, so I bought my own corn picker and then picked my dad's with that, the corn with that. And then we had to scoop it all by hand until me and my brother rented an elevator. Otherwise, we were scooping it all. Well, I guess I'm just like everybody else. You always move from one place to another to better yourself.